Hello and welcome to the March. I don't know what the date is today. I'm losing track. I've been so busy. But welcome to the sunny Sunday afternoon walk and talk edition of the Bobby Hesley Show. Hope the traffic's not too loud. How is everyone doing today? Make sure that you like and comment and share this video. Get the engagement up so that others can hear the message. So let me get right into it. Masks, masks, masks. I made a video on the topic of masks, I want to say 5 months ago when I was down in Orlando, Florida at a real estate investment training seminar. And honestly, on the topic of masks, we have pretty polarizing views on both sides. This message is made for both sides today. This video is dedicated to liberals, and this video is also dedicated to my fellow patriotic conservatives. And the video is also dedicated to those who are agnostics on the topic of masks, who don't know what they should think, who don't know what they should believe either way. I got a little something to say for everybody. But first, I want to start with our friends on the left. If anybody should be opposed to mask mandates, it should be liberals. Liberals should be the loudest voices against wearing masks. As a matter of fact, for those of you who like to vote for senile old racists with long 47-year-old careers of systemic racism, racist comment after racist comment, crime bills that mass incarcerate tens of thousands of black men, candidates who were mentored by exalted cyclopses from the KKK and then gave their eulogy, i.e. Robert Byrd, men who were mentored by Southern segregationists like Strom Thurmond, men who like to trip not downstairs but up the stairs of Air Force One as the entire world laughs at us. You guys know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Jim Crow Joe Biden. For those of you who vote for him, for those of you that voted for his ex-boss that he worked under for 8 years, Barack Hussein Obama, you guys should be the loudest voices against mask mandates. Would you like to know why? Because you people are the ones who like to go to Washington, D.C., wearing vagina hats with bullhorns saying, "My body, my choice." You liberals should be louder against mask mandates than us conservatives are. And yet, you guys are the biggest Nazi Gestapo people when it comes to the mask mandate. You guys are the biggest bullies. You guys are the biggest enforcers. You guys are the biggest snitches. You guys are the biggest troublemakers. And you guys are the biggest oppressors. You guys are the biggest communists when it comes to mask mandates. Yeah. I mean, if it's our body and our choice, shouldn't we have the quote unquote right to choose? Isn't the right to choose more sacred than human life itself? According to you Biden voters, according to you liberals, a person's right to choose is more preeminent than human life itself. It takes precedent over life in the womb. That's how important choice is to you guys, right? Bodily autonomy is the sacrament of feminist liberalism. Is it not, liberals? Answer me, guys. For those of you on the left who voted for Joe Biden, for those of you who have nosebleeds every time the name of Donald Trump is mentioned, talk to me in the video. Isn't bodily autonomy more important to you guys than babies? Don't you guys celebrate hashtag shout my abortion, hashtag my body, my choice? Aren't you guys the ones who invented bodily autonomy? Aren't you guys the one who scream evil patriarchy when it comes to the government regulating what a person can and cannot do with their body, even if that activity involves killing another innocent human being. Right? Keep your laws off my ovaries, right? So why aren't you guys saying keep your laws off my mouth? Where's the consistency there? You bodily autonomy, baby-killing liberal worshipers. Where is your integrity? Where is your consistency when it comes to mask mandates? Because the way you guys are all supportive of mask mandates, all the hundreds of hours of footage you could dig up on YouTube of all you liberal Biden supporters shouting at people, cussing people out, bullying people, putting your hands on people because they walk into a restaurant or they walk into a grocery store not wearing their mask. I've even seen videos of you Biden supporters, of you hashtag my body, my choice people. I've seen you my body, my choice people shout people down just for having their mask on without their nose being covered. Huh? But I thought it was our body, our choice, right? Waiting for you guys to weigh in. I would like to play the Jeopardy song, but I don't want to get hit with copyright. So maybe I'll hum it. Maybe the algorithms, maybe the commie platform algorithms won't be able to detect my terrible humming voice while you liberals have a little bit of time to reach for straws about your hypocrisy regarding my body, my choice when it comes to mask mandates. Do 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 do. My day's going great, Knives. My day is going great. You know why? Because I'm not wearing a mask right now. That's why. Oh, my body, my choice. Whew. I love this body autonomy. I love my bodily autonomy. As a matter of fact, babies are lucky that men can't get pregnant because I love my bodily autonomy so much that if I was pregnant because it's my body, my choice, I would hashtag shout my blankety blank. That's how much I love bodily autonomy. My body, my choice, right? Hey, liberals, why are you guys not protesting anti-rape laws? Huh? Where's your opposition to anti-rape laws? Because one of the main reasons you oppose pro-life legislation is because you believe that laws that restrict what a woman can and cannot do with her reproductive organs are patriarchal, oppressive, chauvinistic, terrible laws that hold women back, right? You my body, my choice people, you like to hold up your signs that say, keep your laws off my ovaries. Well, let me keep you consistent on that. Are not anti-rape laws, laws that are made against men that restrict what they can and cannot do with their reproductive organs? How would you guys feel if a bunch of men went down to Washington, D.C. and wore penis hats the way you guys like to wear your vajayjay hats, and they go down to Washington, D.C. wearing their phallus hats, sticking up over their head like this, and they say, my body, my choice, keep your laws off my Johnson. Huh? How would you guys feel about that? I'll tell you exactly how you'd feel about that. If you saw a bunch of guys shrieking and screaming, and they're down in Washington, D.C., and they're shouting at the top of their lungs, keep your laws off my Johnson, you guys would feel the way us pro-lifers feel when we see you shrieking, witch-cackling feminists going down to Washington, D.C., wearing your vajayjay hats, saying, keep your laws off my ovaries. That's how you guys would feel. You would stand by helplessly, watching all these men fighting for their rights to use their reproductive organs in whatever hell way they want to, no matter who it harms, no matter who it hurts, no matter how much pain it causes. Our body's our choice, right? Keep your laws off my such and such, right? Is that right? Come on, liberals, I'm still waiting for you. Where you at? My body, my choice, man. My body, my choice. So if I don't want to wear face diapers, I should have the right to not wear face diapers, right? I want to fight for a citizen's right to choose. How about I plagiarize some of your guys' language? How about I plagiarize the language of the bodily autonomy baby killers? I'm going to take a page out of your playbook, and I'm going to make a video that fights for a man's right to choose. You know what I notice about pro-choicers? You know what I notice about the bodily autonomy killers? That's what I'm going to call them. Bodily autonomy killers. Because you worship a woman's bodily autonomy so much that you're willing to sacrifice their babies to the demon god Molech, Old Testament style. You know what I notice? Sorry for the noise, guys. One thing I notice about the bodily autonomy, my body, my choice baby killers, they're the only people I know of that claim to strongly believe in what they believe, yet they're so ashamed of what they claim to be so proud of that they're the only people I know who don't complete their sentences, right? How come you guys never complete your sentences? You've been giving us half sentences since the 1960s. As long as you guys have been fighting for your abortion bodily autonomy, which, by the way, all respect to the dead, I'm passing a cemetery right now, and as a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there are victims in this cemetery right now of bodily autonomy. How many bodily autonomy victims do you think are laying in the ground right now of this cemetery, huh? How many people here are dead because of your my body, my choice bodily autonomy worship, huh? There's another fact. But why is it that you guys are the only people I know of who don't complete your sentences? Why do you always have to say a woman has the right to choose? Huh? A right to choose what? Why don't you finish your sentence? If you're so proud of abortion, and if you're so proud of your bodily autonomy, and if you're so proud of your my body, my choice, why are you so ashamed to finish your sentence about what we all know you're talking about? How about I finish it for you, okay? A woman has the right to choose adoption. Oh, you don't like that right to choose, do you? Somebody's triggered over that one. How would you feel? And I don't think I'll ever run for office, so please stop begging me, everybody. But if I ever did run for office, if I wanted to take a massive pay cut and run for office, you know what kind of legislation I would push for? I would be a truly pro-choice politician, because you know what I would do? I would mandate that every Planned Parenthood clinic in the hood, where they're strategically planted at, where they are strategically erected, so that they can systemically, racistly kill 900 black people a day, which you'll never hear Black Lives Matter people talking about, by the way. I would mandate that every abortion clinic, that half of that building be demolished or remodeled, and that the other half of that building have an adoption agency in it. If you guys are truly pro-choice, if a woman truly has the right to choose, then let's see how pro-choice you really are. How many of you liberals would support legislation that mandates an adoption agency be built next to every single abortion clinic, so that a woman showing up contemplating an abortion that has an unplanned pregnancy, maybe it's a 19-year-old college girl that doesn't want her future, quote unquote, wrecked by a baby. Maybe it's a 14-year-old girl who's in a statutory rape relationship with 23-year-old men that have been uncovered through ministries like Live Action, by the way, which nobody does anything about. And Shouldn't those women have the right to choose between abortion and adoption? How pro-choice are you? That's the kind of laws I would pass. How much liberal support would I get if I tried to do that, huh? How many of you pro-choicers would come to my legislative aid if I made such a law? You want to know how many? 0. Because you're really not pro-choice. You're really pro-abortion. You're really not all for bodily autonomy. What about the bodily autonomy of the baby in the womb, huh? Doesn't that baby in the womb also have a right to his or her bodily autonomy? Don't they have a right to not be torn limb from limb by metal torture instruments? Don't they have a right for their mother's womb to not become a grave when it should be a place where life begins instead of a place where life ends? What about their bodily autonomy, huh? So why don't you guys complete your sentence? If you're so proud of your bodily autonomy, why don't you say a woman should have the right to choose to kill her child? Why don't you just say what we all know you're thinking while you're bullying me to wear my mask? Huh? While you're encroaching on my bodily autonomy, while you're violating my body, my choice rights and rules that I have, my constitutional right to have bodily autonomy, while you're trying to bully me out of those rights, how about you come out and be honest about what you really stand for? That's my challenge. I have been waiting for over a year for you liberals to have your allergic meltdown that you like to have when the slightest threat to bodily autonomy from the government shows up in your life. But you guys are the loudest voices in it. You would think Governor Gretchen Whitmer, as wretched as a woman as she is, you would think that Gretchen Whitmer would be the most anti-mask governor in the country, because she even had a pink hat. There's a picture of her. You guys can find it if you look for it. She had a pink hat mocking Donald Trump that said, "Make Planned Parenthood great again." Oh, that's bodily autonomy. If you really want to interpret it, isn't that what that means? Wasn't Whitmer's pink hat, doesn't it really mean make bodily autonomy great again? All right, Big Wretch, who's under criminal investigation for putting COVID patients in nursing homes like Governor Cuomo. Why is it that your bodily autonomy only applies to abortion, but it doesn't apply to everything else, huh? That's my question for reflection from you. Still waiting for some liberals to defend bodily autonomy. I'm 17 minutes in, 18 minutes in. Not a single one of you bodily autonomy champions have agreed with me, have chimed in, have supported me, have liked, loved, or shared this video. Not a single one of you. Because you don't believe in bodily autonomy. You know what you believe in? You believe in government domination. That's what you believe in. The only choice that is sacred to you is the choice to kill babies. But when it comes to my health care, all of a sudden you're not pro-choice. I got to sign up for Obamacare, no matter how crappy it is, no matter how expensive it is, no matter how unnecessary it is. Oh, I don't have a choice in that matter. Nope. You're going to get your health care and you're going to like it. You're going to be a single man and you're going to pay $435 a month for your health care, which is what my health care was before Trump got in office. Once Trump took over, it went down to $235 a month. That's what ended up happening. Still a pretty crappy rate for a single guy. But I would actually lose a lot more in the Obama communist penalty if I didn't have health care than if I did. So I took the L on the monthly health care cost. Let's see. You're welcome, man. Gary Bowers, you was on Trump bandwagon. What happened? Why are you speaking in past tense, Gary? Why are you speaking in past tense? Who says I'm not still on the Trump bandwagon? I don't know where that comes from. Yes, ma'am, Roseanne. It's just common sense, guys. To me, it's just common sense. To me, it's a no-brainer. If you believe in bodily autonomy, then you should believe it in the absolute, because bodily autonomy is an absolute subject. No one has a right to encroach or impose upon our bodies, right? So if you believe in bodily autonomy, you should be pro-life, because you should believe in the bodily autonomy for those who have the least amount of strength to defend it, which are the unborn. Who is more helpless than a baby in the womb? Who is the least qualified to defend their own bodily autonomy than a fetus in the womb? So you should be pro-life. You should be anti-mask. And if you want me to keep you extremely consistent, like extremely consistent, then you should oppose laws that encroach on people's reproductive organs, which is your guys' language. So why are you guys not pushing for an abolishment to anti-rape laws? I really want to know that. Because that is a law that encroaches on somebody's right to use their reproductive organs however they want. And like the old saying goes, you have a right to swing your fist, but your right to swing your fist ends where my nose begins. Bodily autonomy is not a right that we have in the absolute. That's why there are anti-murder laws. That's why there are anti-assault laws. That's why there are anti-rape laws. And those are all just laws. But if you really want to boil down what they really are, they are laws that restrict the absolute use of bodily autonomy. Period. That's what they boil down to, folks. If they're any other kind of law, you tell me. I'm all ears. I'm all ears, guys. We are witnessing a Holocaust, Jordan. We've been witnessing a Holocaust for the last 50 plus years since Roe v. Wade. We have been witnessing a bodily autonomy Holocaust, haven't we? We sure have. So that's my message for the hashtag My Body, My Choice bodily autonomy worshipers, i.e. Joe Biden supporters. Now, I also have a message for my conservative friends, my fellow patriots, my fellow freedom lovers, my fellow anti-maskers. Here's where I get really torn. This is what tears me on this issue, okay? I'm an entrepreneur myself. So it's not that I'm biased in my opinion on this because I'm an entrepreneur. It is legalized murder, Ed. But the thing about it is this, guys. And there are things that we can do about this. We just have to be strategic about how we approach it. The fact is, anybody who starts a business, you guys know that businesses are highly regulated by the government. We're highly regulated by the IRS. They bark orders and regulations at us all the time about different ways that they can tax our income, take our money. We have to answer to the IRS. We have to answer to state laws. We have to answer to the FTC. We have to answer to this, answer to that. If you're an entrepreneur, anybody who's been an entrepreneur for any stretch of time knows that the government has some say in your business. The government has the power to shut down your business if they want. It just is what it is, folks. It really is. And because of that, I feel like my fellow conservatives, we need to be strategic with how we oppose masks. And this is where I'm going to ruffle some of your feathers, okay? This is where some of you who may have been shouting and pumping your fists in agreement with me up until this point in the video might not be so hot about me. Because here's what my true opinion is, okay? I feel that you guys, for those who believe in mass protests, and I have friends that have done mass protests, I really do. I have friends that have filmed themselves going into businesses without masks. I even have one friend, she went into a very well-known department store, and not only was she not wearing a mask, but she went in there with a bullhorn telling everybody that they shouldn't be wearing masks, that they don't have to wear masks. And as much as I respect the patriotism and the courage and the boldness of what it would take to do something like that, I don't feel that that's the best approach, and here's why. You guys have to realize that all of these business owners, these are people who have put their entire life savings into these businesses. These are people that got themselves heavily into debt. These are people that have sold off assets to be able to start their businesses. These are people that have had to take on second mortgages on their houses just so they can stay in business to deal with the epidemic. And I don't feel like it's fair for us to go marching into their business without masks, trying to make political statements. And the reason why is because there is nothing that they can do about it. They have to comply with state law. And I don't believe that we have the right to make that decision for them. And let me give you an example. You guys have all heard the story of this very famous high-profile restaurant owner here in Michigan who escaped from communist Russia or somewhere in Eastern Europe. I don't know if it was Russia or it was somewhere from communist Eastern Europe. And I'm going to get to that in a second, Ken, because I agree. I agree that it's not law. And I'm going to get to that in a second. And you're reading my mind, trust me. So the thing is, Governor Whitmer was struck down. It was ruled that it was unconstitutional for her to impose these mask mandates. That is true. But you know what she did? Is she used a little workaround, and she got the Michigan Health Department involved, who actually does have the authority to impose certain mandates, to impose certain health mandates. You guys have to realize that, how you doing? Good, good. You guys have to realize that it is the Department of Health that is able to enforce sanitation laws, that's able to audit restaurants. It's the Department of Health where you guys ever notice when you have a restaurant, you have to have those licenses and all these stickers and banners showing that you comply with all these laws, alcohol license law. There's all kinds of technical, and again, I believe it's bureaucratic red tape nonsense. I do. I think it's a nanny state. You know, the bigger government is, the less freedom there is, because the government is here to rule. That's why they're called the government. They're made to govern. They're made to make rules. They're made to make restrictions. And the bigger government is, the more restrictions and laws and regulations there are going to be that are going to annoy the living heck out of us. I get that. I'm right there with you guys. But the fact is, hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. But the fact is, I believe that we need to leave it up to these business owners to stand up. If somebody owns a business, if they want to impale themselves on the swords of their patriotism and make a statement by saying, you know what, you don't have to wear masks. I'm not advocating this. I'm just saying, if they wanted to do that, that's something that they would have to make a decision on to do. Then you can go in those businesses without masks. However, there's going to be a chance that the government's going to come knocking and they're going to get arrested, because that's literally what just happened this week. There was a restaurant owner who was arrested. I was at a meeting yesterday at a very well-known place in Sterling Heights, rubbing shoulders, doing some strategic networking with some other conservatives. We're making some big moves. I'm not at liberty to say who they are or what we're doing right now. We're kind of keeping things under wraps. But we were at a very nice restaurant in Sterling Heights, and the owners were enforcing mask mandates. Not only did we have to wear masks, but they also made us wear little gloves, those little lunch lady gloves, when we went up to the You know why I didn't get mad at them? I was annoyed, obviously, because I'm a grown man. And as a grown man, I don't like being told what to do, especially by some kid who's probably half my age, which is probably who this kid was, that was policing everybody. But the fact is, these business owners feel like they have to do that because that's what the Michigan Health Department is forcing them to do. So who are we to jeopardize their business? Who are we? How you guys doing? Who are we to allow our patriotism to encroach on the safety of their business? Because they could get shut down. Folks, if I were to just go into a business right now without a mask, do you realize that it is possible that the owner of that business could get arrested? They could. They really could. That's what happened this week, guys. So we have to look out for our fellow citizens. I don't feel like that's the best way to protest masks. Now, if we want to go up to Lansing and not wear masks and show up at the Capitol without masks and have our bullhorns, have our signs, I'm all for that, guys. I'm all for peaceful protest. I really am. Peaceful assembly. That's one of our constitutional rights. But I don't believe that you are engaging in the right to peaceful assembly if you go up into a restaurant that you don't own without a mask, because you're putting that business at risk just so that you can make a political statement. I don't agree with that, folks. And trust me, I hate masks as much as you guys do. I'm as conservative as they come. I'm probably a libertarian at heart, even though I never vote libertarian because there's not enough votes to get anything won. Guys, I'm right there with you in my hatred of masks, I promise you. I hate big government. I hate the mask mandates. I hate it. But I also love my fellow entrepreneurs. And I don't feel that I have the right to go into their business and put it at jeopardy without wearing a mask. So what I want to ask you guys is, the next time you go into a restaurant or a business, just realize it's not a government building. You're not going into a library. You're not going into a police station. You're not going into City Hall. You're not going into the water department. You're entering into a private business that has the right to say no shoes, no shirts, no service. They also have the right to say no mask, no service. But I believe that their hands are tied, guys. I don't believe that, listen, I've made lots of friends with Chaldeans in the last year. I have lots of Chaldean entrepreneur friends who own restaurants. I have Chaldean friends who own grocery stores. I have Chaldean friends who own banquet halls, and you guys know who you are, right? And most Chaldeans, listen, we were just talking about this at our meeting yesterday. If it were not for Macomb County, Donald Trump would not have won Michigan in 2016. I believe that the Chaldeans got Donald Trump elected back in 2016. And so do Chaldeans. They carried Macomb County. Macomb County's a blue county, man. Macomb County's full of liberals. But most Chaldeans are hardcore conservatives. Why? Because Chaldeans are known to be merchants. The Chaldean people are ancient merchants. They're into commerce and business. Most Chaldeans are business owners. Liquor stores, party stores, car washes, restaurants, you name it. And if you're a business owner, you're going to be conservative. Why? Because you go into business to make money, not to donate money to the IRS. So most Chaldeans are very conservative because they're capitalists. And most capitalists are conservative because capitalism and freedom go hand in hand. And when you're a liberal, the only freedom that you believe in is the freedom to kill babies. But every other kind of freedom is off the table, right? So I said all that to say, I have a Chaldean friend that owns a Mediterranean restaurant. I go there at least a couple times a week. If you're watching this, you know who you are. And because they got just killer salad. I love their fattoush salads. And he is hardcore conservative, guys. Hardcore conservative. Loved Trump. Voted for Trump twice. Loves him. Loves conservatism. But he enforces masks. Why? Because the Michigan State Health Department forces him to, under threat of arresting him as of last week, or shutting down his business, or fining him, which would really hurt your business. It really would. If I were to walk into his restaurant without a mask, just so that on Facebook Live, just so that I can make a political point, I feel like I would be betraying my friend. I feel like I would be jeopardizing, threatening, and harming the business of my friend because I don't have a right to do that. You remember I said your right to swing your fist ends where someone else's nose begins? Well, I'm going to apply that to this. My right to not wear a mask in a building ends where my Chaldean's fattoush restaurant ends. I don't have a right to walk up in there and get him in trouble with the Michigan Health Department. And I don't think he's being a jerk when he asks people to put their masks on. He's not. He's one of us. He's a conservative. But he's also an entrepreneur. He's got a wife to support. He's got kids to feed. He's got a mortgage, I'm sure. He's got overhead. He can't afford to be put out of business by Whitmer. Are you kidding me? She is on the hunt to put people out of business. She is. And I get your point, Darlene. Businesses should be speaking up more than they have. Sorry, I don't feel bad for anyone that helps to strip our freedom. And Darlene, with all due respect, and please know that I love you, I'm going to preface what I'm about to say to you. But that's easy for you to say when you haven't put all your life savings in a business. That's easy for you to say when you don't have $8,000 a month in overhead, that just being shut down for 1 week would put you out of business. It's easy for us to be recliner chair quarterbacks at TV, at home watching the TV, telling Tom Brady how he should be throwing the ball. It's easy for us to sit on the sidelines and be recliner chair patriots. He's not a tyrant, Darlene. I disagree with you, honey. I disagree with you. He's not a tyrant. He's not. Whitmer is the tyrant. You need to direct that towards Whitmer. You need to direct that toward the Michigan Health Department. Direct that towards your Democrats who vote for these idiots. That's who you need to direct that comment to. He's a person just trying to stay in business. He is. And I'm just using him as an example, obviously, but there's thousands of business people that are doing the same. Now, again, we have examples to the contrary. Like the guy, who was it in Saginaw last year? The 70-something-year-old barber who defied Whitmer's order and he kept his barber shop open. There are patriotic business owners. And if you're out there, if you're a patriotic, freedom-loving business owner, I invite you to stand up. But just know that you're risking everything. You're risking jail time. But sooner or later, I believe that somebody in business is going to stand up. They might get arrested. Who knows? This lady that's been arrested, it's going to go to court. And I believe that could set off some possible rulings that could even get the Michigan Health Department struck down. I do believe that. But I think we need to leave it up to the business owners to make that decision. That's my opinion, guys. And I know it's not popular with lots of you. I know it's not. But that's my opinion. Just realize that when you see the My Body, My Choice pro-abortion liberal bullying a soccer mom at Costco for not wearing her mask, don't put a business owner in the same category as that person. The business owner is not being a bully. The business owner is just trying to stay in business, folks. They just got the government's boot on their neck, and they're just trying to stay in business. That's right, Jordan. The pendulum always swings the other way, and I'm confident that it will, guys. We just have to hang in there. So that's my thought on it, guys. That's my message for my fellow conservatives. Just realize that when you walk into a store and the person asks you to wear your mask, they're not being a tyrant. They're not. Let me ask you this. Let me give you guys the perfect example. If a business has an alcohol license, which is highly regulated, are they being tyrants? Because this is a law, guys. It is a law that says that if a customer is drunk and if they are noticeably intoxicated, if they want to keep drinking, you have to take their keys. You have to make sure that they have arranged to get a ride home. Otherwise, you could lose your liquor license, right? Do you guys ever notice that when you walk into a liquor store, you walk into a restaurant, you'll see this big sign with the year 2000? Why is that? Well, because they have to check IDs. Because if they sell alcohol to anybody under the age of 21, guess what happens? Bad things will happen to that business owner. So is the business owner being a tyrant to a 16-year-old kid that says, hey, give me some Smirnoff on the rocks. Neat, please. And the business owner says, no, I can't serve you alcohol. You're too young. You're only 16 years old. Come back in 5 years. Is that business owner being a tyrant? Is that business owner being unpatriotic? Is that business owner being a liberal? Of course not. What about cigarettes? You're not allowed to sell tobacco to people under a certain age. Is a 7-Eleven owner being a Biden supporter if he won't sell a pack of cigarettes to a 10-year-old? Of course not. And I agree, Ken. Those are laws on the books. But the Michigan Health Department is using workarounds to enforce these laws. So the enemy that we need to fight against are those workarounds. And I just don't believe that walking up into a business without a mask is the way to do it. I don't, guys. What is it going to accomplish? Let's have that conversation. If I were to take my mask off and just walk up in Kroger, like, what up? I'm here. What? Who wants some of this here? I ain't got no mask on. You want a piece of this here? Come at me. What would that accomplish? It'll get me some views on Facebook. They'll say, wow, look at that guy without not wearing a mask. But after that, what does it accomplish? Huh? What? If I were to walk into my friend's Fatous restaurant without a mask, and I say, hey, I'm here, everybody. I'm here, you lucky people. What would that accomplish? That's what it would accomplish. If anything, it's going to bring some unnecessary heat on my friend. So I am not advocating cowardice. I am not advocating obedience to tyrannical laws, even though it sounds like I am. What I'm advocating is that we need to be more strategic. We need to be strategic, folks. There's more than one way to fight these mask mandates, but I don't believe that subjecting business owners to the Michigan Health Department is the way to do it. That's my opinion. I know you don't all agree. I promise you I have not defected to the left. I haven't, guys. I'm still your man, Bobby Hesley. Don't worry. I'm getting ready to wrap up here. Getting ready to hit a late mass. So, if you have not done so, please like this video. Please comment on it. Please share it. Let's see. Darlene, I refuse to wear a mask and will avoid it as much as I possibly can. I don't need to eat out. I shop online. I will not give my money to businesses that help take our freedom away. Now, again, Darlene, I respect that you're boycotting restaurants by shopping online. I respect that. But on a practical, strategic level, let's take our head out of the clouds for a second. All right, let's come back down to planet Earth where we all live. And what do you think would happen if you had a friend who owned a business and you wanted to walk into that business without a mask and film yourself doing it? Do you think your friend would be very happy with you? Let's just be honest. I don't think they would be. I wouldn't be. Because I'd be like, Darlene, listen, I get off, I'm off this weekend. Let's just go to Lansing together. Let's just go to Lansing without our masks and let's do a mass protest in Lansing. But come on, you're going to get me shut down here, Darlene. You're going to get me shut down. Guys, you have to realize we live in a day and age where privacy is an artifact of the past. If you are a business owner in this day and age, if the government wanted to find you and track you down, it would be so easy. And if I made a restaurant famous by walking up in there without a mask, saying, I'm here, who want a piece of this here? Come at me, you mask commies. I'm not wearing a mask. Come on, what you got? Yeah, I'll make that restaurant famous. But what else is it going to accomplish, huh? Is Governor Whitmer going to all of a sudden say, hey, that Bobby guy went into his friend's Fatous restaurant without a mask and he got 10,000 views on Facebook. You know what? I think I'm going to lift the mask mandate. That ain't going to work, guys. Thank you. That ain't going to work, guys. I'm just telling you. It's not going to work. There are better ways to do it. And in my opinion, there are more just and fair ways to do it. So that's my food for thought for the day, folks. I hope everybody's having a blessed Christian Sabbath in sunny Michigan. I know I am. To all my liberal friends, I need you to start being honest and consistent. If it's my body, my choice, I need you to join us in fighting these mask mandates because it's our body, our choice, right? And I also want you to start completing your sentences and being a little bit prouder of what you know you're ashamed of, which is killing babies. Knock it off with this woman has a right to choose. Just come out and say what she has a right to choose, in your opinion. Just come out and say a woman has a right to choose to kill her kid. Just come out and say it, man. And to my conservative friends, look out for your fellow entrepreneurs. Be strategic in how you fight masks. And don't get business owners in trouble. Now, if you're a business owner yourself, you can make that decision. Well, look what happened to that lady this week. You better be willing to go to jail, and that wouldn't be a bad thing. Maybe you can write a letter from a Michigan jail, like Dr. King wrote his letter from a Birmingham jail. I'm all about boycotting. I'm all about civil disobedience, but not at the cost of innocent entrepreneurs that are just trying to stay in business so that they can pay for their kids' braces. This is your man, Bobby Hesley, signing off, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.